Is 2026 going to be the best year we've ever had for Star Wars? Crazy to think, but it's been almost a month since we've got together and talked Star Wars. That is a really long time for Star Wars fans that participate in a Star Wars podcast to not get together and talk Star Wars.
It's been a while.
I've been really looking forward to this. I hope you guys had a great holiday season and got to slow down a little bit. But just as the year is probably getting crazy for everybody coming off the holidays, I think Star Wars is about to pick up full throttle as well. So we are going to break down all the stuff coming out in 2026. For the most part, it's all confirmed. There's one thing on here that is not confirmed yet, but I would be super shocked if Tales of the Something doesn't come out. We'll talk about that. And then Ahsoka Season 2, it was not listed on the 2026 release thing that was at some Star Wars or Disney, maybe a quarterly earnings thing or something like that. But everything we've heard says it's coming out in 2026. So we are going to function under the assumption that it is coming out in 2026. So we're going to run through these. We've got TV shows, we got movies, we got video games. We're not going to touch on books because I feel like there's just a lot of books that it could be. So
it's a lot of
that's
additions.
That's the direction we're going to go with this. And so what we're going to start off with is just the one that we actually have a confirmed date on, and that would be the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. Star Wars is coming back to the big screen, which is super exciting. This May, it's going to be a fun time. Memorial Day weekend, big movies coming out anyways. That's just like a kickoff to the summer, And this year, it's the Mandalorian and Grogu for us. So I am, obviously, as a Star Wars fan, super excited about that. But I just think it's going to be so fun. So I thought a fun way for us to start this would be to watch the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer that we have so far. So let's enjoy this here. Let's go full screen and check this out. And hopefully it shares the sound with y'all. So we'll see. A little bit of volume there. How crazy is it that they got Sigourney Weaver for this movie, by the way? Yeah. They don't typically do, the big stars, but in Solo, they got Woody Harrelson, and then we got Sigourney Weaver here. But I digress. Nice. Zeb. Was that, whose ship was that? Do we know? That one, is that like, let's see. Do we know that ship?
Wait, is that the U-wing?
That's what.
Yeah, that's
it looks kind of like a U-wing, right? I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, from Rogue One. It's kind of like Cassian's ship, right? Is that right? So it'll be, that's probably just an Easter egg, but we'll keep going. Did y'all see him eating the popcorn from Disney as well?
Yeah. I love that.
The Galactic mix or whatever. Outposts, yeah. You better believe I will be watching this in IMAX because of that AT-AT scene.
That
Seeing
one
the
shot,
walker.
yeah.
Yep, that's cool. What sold me on IMAX if I needed any other reason to be sold. But it looks like a lot of fun. I mean, what do y'all think just off the trailer? I mean, nothing, it doesn't give anything away in the movie. It's just a bunch of action shots, but
it's going to be a fun time. I got to see the trailer in theaters when I saw the new Avatar movie. It was so fun, even though it's a quick trailer. It was cool to see it in theaters. So
yeah,
I'm just excited.
Was it that same trailer?
Yeah.
Yeah. They keep saying we're going to get a new one.
Yeah. That's what I was expecting.
We got what, like 5 months?
Well, they'll do one at the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Probably.
No, it looks fun. I feel like it has like a higher budget vibe as the first season of Mando. I don't know what it is, but something about just the short clips of action we see and just the vibe of it feels very Mando season 1, which I'm excited about. Like, I love just kind of the out on the fringes, the lawlessness type vibe. It really feels like kind of a return to that original form, which is what I've been wanting. I've been wanting to go back to the two of them and not so much focus on everybody else. So I think it looks great. I think it's going to be fun. I think that's going to be kind of the big, if it's fun, I'll be happy.
I kind of think that's the vibes they're going for is fun, action, summer flick.
Right.
I know they'll obviously tie it into all this big picture story they're telling, but they've got to go about this. And I'll read the synopsis really quickly, but they've got to go about this in a way that someone off the street who knows nothing of this can walk in and watch it and have fun. You know what I mean? So there'll be like a few catching up scenes, I'm sure, where it'll just be sentences that recap whole seasons of The Mandalorian or something like that, if I had to guess, or whole plot points of different parts of The Mandalorian. But yeah, the main thing, here's the synopsis, is the evil empire has fallen, but Imperial warlords remain scattered throughout the galaxy as the fledgling New Republic works to protect everything the rebellion fought for. They enlist the help of legendary Mandalorian bounty hunter Din Djarin and his young apprentice Grogu. This is going to be a lot of fun. It sounds like Mandalorian is a gun for hire, right? Anyway, so now he's just a gun for hire for the New Republic. Because last we saw him, he is retired. He is just kind of sitting on his front porch with Grogu, sipping a drink and enjoying Navarro 2 or whatever they call it. What's the city name for Navarro in season 3? But that's where he's hanging out at, and then he gets back into the action. So my assumption is this will eventually lead to Thrawn in some shape, form, or capacity, right? Like it has to get there.
Yeah, I think there'll be some sort of tie-in to the bigger picture, but I don't know how far they push it though. I think they tried to do too much with Mando season 3 in terms of like they really wanted it to become like lore heavy with all like the Mandalorian culture and stuff. And I think there's a place for that, but I do think, season 3 is the one that a lot of people will say not my favorite season. So I do think, like you were saying, like just to make sure it appeals to a lot of people, I don't think they're going to really go heavy and like trying to shove a lot of stuff into this, but I think it will be connected. I think it'll be a lot of fun. Maybe, I'm curious if they pull like some of the warlords from like Legends or something who are leading like Imperial remnant fleets or something like that as just kind of like cameos and Easter eggs. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be like a really big, like lore heavy type deal.
They've already done that with the Heir to the Empire guy. What's his name? That was Thrawn's right-hand man.
Paleon,
right?
Yeah,
isn't he in Mando season 3?
Yeah, he's been in it for a while. He appears kind of here and there throughout a lot of stuff. He was in the Clone Wars, wasn't he?
Probably so.
I think
Dave Filoni always trickles little things like that in.
If I remember correctly.
But yeah, I'm assuming we're going to get the Shadow Council, the Imperial Shadow Council, because that was actually a pretty interesting plot point in Mando season 3, where for me personally, that season fell short in a lot of areas. That was like the big thing, is they're getting really close to getting the band back together. And so I'm assuming this movie is going to pick up with that in some capacity, because you got Mando chasing after these Imperial remnants. So I'm assuming that's kind of where they're going. And through Ahsoka, we know that Thrawn is showing back up. So, like, I don't think Thrawn's the big baddie in this movie or anything like that, as far as that's who they're fighting at the end of the movie. But it wouldn't surprise me if the end of this almost coincides with the end of Ahsoka season 1, and then, okay, here's this movie, you just loved it. Well, there's a TV sequel to this that picks up right where it left off, and it's going to come out in 2 months this summer or something like that. Because Ahsoka season 1 came out in August. My thought is they may do that again. So you've got Mando doing all that. It'll probably come to Disney Plus around the same time Ahsoka season 2 comes out in August. And then you carry that story, a lot of momentum. I think that would be a savvy way to go about this. So that's kind of my thoughts on how they're going to go about this movie. But mainly, I think it's going to be explosions, Star Wars action. You're going to get the greatest hits of Mando and Grogu. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. You're going to get Road to the Hutt. That's awesome. I mean, seeing a Hutt doing more than just sitting there on a barge, that's going to be really fun in live action. Sigourney Weaver's probably going to be a really cool character. We have Zeb in action. Carson Teva for sure. If Zeb's there, I feel like Carson Teva is going to be around as well.
Yeah.
And we know he is on to the Shadow Council, so he is going to know what's going on. So I feel like he plays a big role. Quick question, last thing on Mando, because we got a lot of ground to cover today. Does Mando survive his movie? Kevin, yes or no?
Yes. If this is the type of movie I think it is, where it's like fun action flick, let's tie into the next thing, I don't think this is the setting where you have an end for this big character. I think it comes maybe on a bigger stage at a bigger time. Or in his show.
Ryan?
Maybe that's the better place since that's where he started. Sorry.
Yeah, that would be
I don't
good. No, that's a good point. Ryan, you think he makes it out?
Yeah, because I mean, like you guys said, they don't want to do too much for this movie. I mean, it's just gonna, not that it's gonna be a New Hope, but I feel like it's just gonna feel like it, just a fun, whimsical space fantasy adventure, nothing too heavy. And I feel like if they do something like that, that'll be too much, especially for the, the casual or just mainstream people, or maybe people that just know Mando. I think that might be too much for them. And they definitely want to do a sequel if it does well. And also, I'm pretty sure Dave wants to include him in the
big one
culmination film at the end.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to have Mando in that for sure. So yeah, I don't think it's just going to be a beginning, middle, and end kind of movie, and see what happens from there.
Yeah, and
I'm in agreement.
I think to add to that, especially because you were talking about, Ryan, people who know Mando, but like people that have never seen the show, you probably don't want to go into a movie and the character dies and you're like, what is this?
Yeah. What did I get into now?
It might push some people away from the rest of the content if they had no prior context.
Good point.
Yes.
Like, okay, that's it.
Yeah, this movie is easily going to make $1 billion. There is no chance that they wipe their $1 billion movie star out in the first movie that they do. I mean, how lousy would that be? So I also agree that Mando makes it out. Now, whether Pedro Pascal continues being Mando all so much, who knows? He's a busy guy, right? He's the big guy in Star Wars, or in Hollywood, not just in Star Wars. He's a big guy in Hollywood. So he's behind a mask. They can make Mando go as long as they want to. I do think Mando survives his movie. I don't think he survives his entire story arc, however that ends. But I do think he gets the Iron Man treatment at some point. But here, I would say he does survive. So that's my take on the Mandalorian movie. Now, moving ahead to Maul Shadow Lord. I don't know the release date of any of this. Obviously, none of us do. But I feel like Maul Shadow Lord is either going to come out right before Mandalorian or either right after. So like maybe you remember the Bad Batch would have that early spring release date where they would go like February, March, April, or March, April, May, whatever. I wouldn't be surprised at all if the finale of Maul Shadow Lord ends up like being a May the 4th release or something like that. Or the season starts on May the 4th, but I would be surprised if things go all at the same time. Like that's going on while Mando's in theaters. So I'm kind of thinking spring for Maul Shadow Lord, just based on when they've done other animated projects. I think the Bad Batch kind of timeline works well for Maul Shadow Lord. So what are y'all's initial thoughts for this show?
It's gonna be awesome. I can't wait because they said it's like a different animation type, so I'm interested to see that. And who was it that was saying this? I don't know if I can't remember. I was listening to something. I'm always, when I work, I'm always having
Yeah.
something on my TV while I'm working.
Mm-hmm.
And someone, who was it? Oh, it was the Determined Focus podcast yesterday.
Oh yeah, Will and
Yeah.
Grayson. Yeah.
Yeah. So they were saying like we don't even know if that's going to be Darth Talon. So it'll be interesting to see who his apprentice
Yeah.
is. And also, they made a good point. He goes by Maul, not Darth Maul. So she may not even be called Darth Talon.
With Talon.
It may just be, a character that's, I mean, because they've taken certain characters and changed them as they brought them in, kind of like Cal Kestis. He's kind of like Kyle Katarn, but not Kyle Katarn. So they could be doing the same thing with her. So I'm curious about what that's going to be like as well.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I would honestly be surprised if they just straight up make this character like a Darth Talon. I'm honestly not sure that character makes it out of the show. Like, I feel like that's just Maul's trajectory. Like, nothing works out for him. Nothing works. Like, it's kind of, I mean, he's a bad dude, but he's also a pretty tragic dude. And so I could see him investing in this apprentice and the apprentice not making it, and so, but that's what I'm excited about for the show is there's a lot that they could do with this character because he's such an interesting character. And I think we're all really interested in like looking at him wrestle with like his failures and what he's trying to accomplish now and what are his goals? Like, what is he actually trying to do, in the midst of this show? So I think it's also going to be tricky though, because we know where he is before and we know where he is after. So you really gotta, fit it in a way that makes sense, where all the plot points make sense and all the motivations make sense. I was thinking about that today because we obviously pick up with him in Rebels where he's kind of back obsessed with Kenobi. And so you got to give me a good reason to see why he got back to that point, because I don't think, I hope this whole show is not just him obsessed with Kenobi, right? Like
that's not going to be it.
Right. And so I'm really interested in how they're going to give him a really compelling story because he's a really compelling character, but then also fit it in perfectly between escaping from, Ahsoka and the ship and where we find him in Rebels. So I'm excited. I think there's a lot of possibilities and they're all pretty fun to think about.
Yeah, now there is an official, I suppose it's official, Marvel has released what it's about because Marvel has a prequel comic to it that comes out in March. Really? So, so it says, and I'll just read exactly what it says. The upcoming animated show, Maul Shadow Lord, will reveal Maul's plan to rebuild his criminal syndicate on Janix, a planet untouched by the Empire. So we're going to be on Janix. The Empire is out of the picture, right? At least so. I remember when we've talked about this either on camera or off, we were kind of wondering how are they going to tightrope walk the Empire thing, right? Because if the Empire wanted, they could just show up and squash this whole Maul deal. So how do you kind of get around that? Well, they're not interested in this Janix planet that Maul is on, so we don't have to worry about that. So we're just going to have him really isolated, building a criminal syndicate on a world that the Empire doesn't care about. So y'all have mentioned the girl that looks like Talon. So we have got, and this is some Maul concept art. This was at Star Wars Celebration is when this was shared. So you just got like a picture of Maul here, which we've seen Darth Maul every which way. That's kind of Phantom Menace-y though, so I do like that. But this is the girl in question, the one that everyone's saying, oh, it's Darth Talon, it's Darth Talon. Obviously, it looks like Darth Talon. So they've got things going that way. I personally do think that by the end of this, maybe she does take that role. Like, and when I say by the end of it, I mean like by the end of Maul Shadow Lord, however so many seasons it gets. I'm assuming it's getting the few season treatment, kind of like the Bad Batch as well.
Yeah.
Because animated Star Wars typically does get that. So I wouldn't be surprised if she maybe morphs into that, whether she's called Talon or not. Ryan, like you said, they will take a concept and maybe wedge it in there without calling her Darth Talon. I kind of think that's where this goes. But I do think, Kevin, like you said, she ends up either, he loses her because things never go Maul's way, or she betrays him and that's how he ends up kind of crazy going after Kenobi at the end of it. So those are my thoughts on that.
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
There's this guy eating at like a slot paw, I guess. I don't know. Like he's holding a wrench and he's got a lot of food. Cool looking character. And then this is what, like, I never trust anything they release, but it makes it look like she's using the Force. but she could just as easily be falling and trying to grab something.
Yeah.
But it sure looks like she's using the Force there. So it does make you wonder. I mean, I hope that's what she turns out to be. Just, Star Wars fan, that's what you want. But I would not be surprised at all if that's not where it goes either. Just because things don't always go the way that
Now,
we think they will.
Did you say was that concept art or was that from the show?
That was so that wasn't
Stills.
concept art. That was actually stills from the sizzle reel shown at Celebration.
It looks like there's a significantly higher amount of detail in this animation style. Like you see the difference. Yeah,
especially in the one picture, that alien dude.
Higher level of realistic texture within this, so that's interesting.
Yeah, for sure. Sam Witwer said, I think it was Sam Witwer that ended up saying the animation style was a little bit different too. So it's just going to be so good that any one of these big releases, Maul, Ahsoka, Mando movie, any of the three of those any other year could be the thing that I'm looking most forward to in Star Wars for a year. And they're all happening in the same year. But I think this will probably be the slowest paced Maul Shadow Lord season we have. If it's just one, like him getting things set up. I think if this goes a few seasons, we really get into the thick of the crime world. I think he does cross paths with the Empire. I think he cross paths with the Rebellion. And then I think it leaves you right where Rebels picks up, picks up with his story. Yeah. I think that's such a fun idea for a beloved character. And we know his beginning, we know his actual end. So really I like that, having guardrails, because they can just play within this one little sandbox without having to worry about messing stuff up on either side, because he's got a clearly defined beginning and end. So I'm super excited for this show.
With all the praise that the Ahsoka Maul fight got in Clone Wars, do you think they go back and do a lot of motion capture with the action in this?
Could do it.
That's more money, but I mean, people certainly appreciated it.
Wouldn't surprise me if they did it like if there was a big battle at the end. Yeah. Like the
I don't
Ahsoka
think it would
Maul.
be every sequence at all.
Had to be flying Ray Park out to wherever.
I hope we have some big sequences that are mocap. That'll be fun.
And Marok is going to be in this. That was one of the things. Yeah. Marok from Ahsoka is going to be in it. So I'm assuming that odds are that's his counterpart, that they're the antagonist, which is going to be weird because the antagonist is the protagonist in this story. So it's going to kind of be an interesting dynamic to feel. With that thought in mind, are y'all kind of leery of viewing Maul, or are we going to think of him as the good guy of this story? How do you feel about that?
I think that'll be interesting. I mean, it's bound to happen because he's going to be dealing with the underworld, all these crime syndicates. I mean, he's going to be running his own, but I think they'll do that. They'll want us to, maybe empathize with him a bit. Especially, well, he's a tricky guy. He's really tricky, when we see him in Rebels. So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
because Rebels kind of gives you like a victim note at the end. Like he's a victim of all this too.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think I'll be rooting for him in the sense that I just want him to be a bad dude, not because I think he's like a great guy and I feel a lot of sympathy towards him, because he's pretty awful at times, but like I want to see him be on the top, I feel like there's that kind of thing to it as well.
You want him to be the baddest of bad dudes.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I'm looking for. I love that this whole show is probably going to have this big kind of veil of moral ambiguity the whole time. Yeah. Like, who is this person? They're all bad, but maybe this one is the most morally upright bad person.
Should be interesting.
And that type of thing. How are they going to navigate that? Because Star Wars hasn't really had to navigate that yet, as far as I know. So I'm pretty excited to see how they handle that. Now, any other stuff on Maul Shadow Lord?
Excited.
I don't really know too much about it. Yeah. And the prequel comic comes out.
I think it'll be sooner rather than later. I mean, I don't think it'll be as early as like Bad Batch. Like that last season was like February. I don't think it'll be that early, but
no. So that's what I was going to say. The comic, the prequel, The Shadow of Maul, comes out March 4th is when you can buy it. Okay. So my thought is it's probably March. Right. That comes out. Give everybody a little bit of time.
That'll be good.
Then boom, Maul Shadow Lord. April probably at the latest. I really do think an ending it before Mando is going to happen, because I don't think you can have a lot of stuff going on at the same time when that happens. So I think it's probably over by Memorial Day. My thoughts on that. But moving ahead now, we are at the Ninth Jedi. So we are going to get that. My assumption is in the fall is when that is going to come around, because that is when Visions has been coming around. So that's usually kind of how Star Wars handles all this, is they go off this little calendar of how they've been doing things before. So I think we get this in the fall. It'll probably be the last thing we get for the year, TV show wise. And it's actually set like 1,000 years after the rise of Skywalker, which personally I think is a great move. Because if you're going to tell something, if you're going to weave an anime style thing into canon, which my assumption that is what they're doing. I think we've had that confirmed. This is getting weaved into canon. I could be making that up, but I think that's the idea.
I think I read somewhere this week, earlier this week, that it's neither Legends or canon.
It's just its own thing. That's that means if it goes good, they're going to say it's canon. And if it goes bad, they're going to, might as well. I don't think we are a fan base of it, but as far as Star Wars as a whole, the population as a whole, I don't think this is really on many people's radar. But I love the stories in the Tales. It's in seasons 1 and 3, or volume 1 and 3, not Tales, but Visions. And I think she's a great character. I love the idea that there's all these bad guys, there's a few Jedi, and they're trying to figure this all out. And the animation style is cool. I really like them getting so far away from anything Star Wars canon that we know. You can't mess things up. I mean, let's say it's 1,000 years after episode 9. What if they jump 1,000 years and they're in some other galaxy, like on a different show? I don't think this can mess up anything. So I think this show is kind of a win-win. I don't think you can lose on this show.
Yeah. And what was I going to say? Yeah, I don't know too much about it, but I'm just excited because it's their, kind of like Visions is kind of like a testing ground. So is this now?
Yeah.
A full season of that.
For sure.
How that goes. And again, I don't know too much, but I'm hoping this does well, that they'll start to do it with all the other, stories that they've, one of the other stories they told in it. I would like, well, that might be better for another topic, actually another podcast episode. What else we would like to turn into a full series. But yeah, I'm excited, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I think it's, of all the Visions, the one that just feels the most like thematically Star Wars.
Yes.
That's why I think it could go really well. I love this idea of trying to reclaim, who are the Jedi? What were they in the midst of this galaxy where apparently it's like the Sith that have all the power? I think that's a cool idea, and I'm excited to see that theme of her trying to discover who the Jedi were and what it means to be a Jedi, because it's been lost for so long. I think that's a cool direction to go, and just fits so well within the theme of Star Wars. And those first 2 shorts we got just fit so well with Star Wars. So yeah, I'm excited about it. I think it'll be a lot of fun, and I like that it's so separate from other things.
Yeah. I agree. And so I was just looking to confirm that it was the 1,000 years, and the official thing is it's a millennia after the sequel trilogy, which it could be give or take, I suppose. But you've got 1,000 years after it. So that makes Star Wars cover a 25,000 year time span now, which is just crazy to think. You can go way back one way, and you can go a little bit further the other. And it's weird saying, the future in Star Wars, because it all seems like it's just such a futuristic thing anyways, even though it's technically a very past thing. When you read the opening crawl, it's a long time ago. We keep jumping forward. I mean, how long is a long time ago? Are we going to get to present time if we keep doing these time jumps in Star Wars? We could still be a galaxy far away, but are we going to skip too far forward? That's maybe a constraint we got to worry about. But I don't think 1,000 years is that. I think the fun thing, it says it's a limited series, so, but you know how that is. They got an animation studio. If it goes really good, they could probably do even more if they don't just make the story very final. So I think it would be cool to introduce some fun new bad guys and really make us like these other Jedi that are in the show, because we don't have a whole lot on all of them yet. We've got the main character. but I think you can really, I mean, think back to Attack of the Clones, The Phantom Menace. You get the Jedi Council, and like everybody is crazy about Kit Fisto, and he's got nothing on him, but we all like him. And so you get things of him in the Clone Wars, and you build on him, and you like him better, and things like that. And I think they can do that type of a thing with not Visions, but with the Ninth Jedi. So I think there's a lot of potential for this particular show to do that. I don't have a whole lot to add to this because we really just don't know too much about it. But I feel like they're playing with house money on this because Visions keeps coming out. It keeps being well received. This is a very well received aspect of Visions. So now Visions is shifting to really isolate in on these stories, which shows that it has been successful and has built a following. So I think it's a win-win. Even if it's not the most watched thing, I think it'll be a good story, and I think people will like it. Now, let's shift gears. We're going to wait to do Ahsoka till like the very end, but let's go to the video games because we got a couple big video games that we know are coming out this year. As much as you can know about a video game coming out, because I feel like video games, like movies, they can always get
delayed
because we're still waiting on that one Star Wars game where the guy's hitting the drums, Eclipse, right? So,
has there been any update since that like really short cinematic no gameplay introduction?
Every now and then they'll put out an update that it's on hold, and they'll say, actually, no, it is not on hold. Still coming out. They're still working on it.
It was a long time ago.
But let's start with the video game we knew about first, which is Star Wars Zero Company. So I've got a little trailer here for Zero Company, and I'm excited about this style of video game for Star Wars. Should be a lot of fun. I know Kevin's excited for it. Also to note on this, if anyone didn't see it or if it'll pop up later, this is not gameplay. This is just the trailer. So this is not what the game is actually going to look like at all times. There's probably some gameplay stuff out there. This is just the announced trailer. Respawn and EA. How cool is it to see the Separatist command ship up there, too? That just brings back the prequel feels. That is so cool seeing. Is that the Phase 1 clone trooper? Is that correct? Yeah. I love that. And obviously, if you haven't picked up on it yet, this is a strategy game. This is not your traditional Star Wars game. It's Two Tubes is who it looks like from Rogue One. I mean, obviously it's not, but it's that same type of character, yeah. So we've got a clone, a scoundrel, a Mandalorian, a Jedi, whatever this person is here, and then we've got a droid as well somewhere on there. This is gameplay, I suppose.
Yeah.
coming 2026. Now, I am not the video game person on this show. So, Kevin, I'd officially defer to you at first for first comments on Zero Company.
So I'm excited. I don't know if people aren't familiar. It's like a turn-based. It looks like the turn-based tactical games where it's all about kind of using your environment, your different abilities, all your troops. They operate very differently. They move very differently. It's all about positioning and using your abilities. If anybody's ever played like the XCOM games, which I love, so a lot of those developers that made those XCOM games, which was very well received, turn-based tactical gameplay, as well as a bunch of developers from the people that made Civilization games. They're the ones who make up this new studio that's making this game. So it's really a pedigree of a lot of people who've made a lot of these types of games that have been very well received. I think it's going to be a pretty high quality game. And if you like something where you can sit down and, the great thing about these kind of games is you can pick them up for 20, 30 minutes and do something. It's not something where you got to sit down and invest like hours to get through something. It's slow. It's a little bit slower, but they're tense, man. Because a lot of times with these games, like you lose a soldier and like they might be gone or they're out for the rest of the fight or something. And so it creates a lot of tension, like trying to keep your guys alive, trying to use them as well as you can. I love these types of games, so I'm really excited to get a Star Wars iteration of it. So I'm pumped. Yeah. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
I agree. I like the change of pace because, like you said, you couldn't just pick up Survivor or Fallen Order and just play for 20 minutes. You don't really get very far because you either would have to just choose to go straight in on story or straight in on exploring, but you couldn't do both in 20 or 30 minutes. So I do like that. And then also the fact that you get these developers, Kevin, that you've said that are really good at what they do, and then you throw some LucasArts behind it, like it's going to look good.
Yeah,
it's gonna feel good. So I'm really excited about it. I think it'll be fun to watch people streaming this as well, just because from what I understand of these games, you can go about this different ways on how to beat different levels and things like that, or however it breaks down, levels, campaigns, or something. People might have a different strategy from another person as opposed to a story mode. You've kind of got to do what it says to do. So I'm excited to see how that all plays out. And then it'll probably take me 2 or 3 years to beat it, but I'll have a lot of fun with it. Ryan, are you going to stream this one?
I don't know. I don't know about that because, like, Kevin said, it's kind of like a slow game. So I don't know if people want to watch. I mean, maybe there are people that want to see strategy. I don't think. I mean, I've seen strategy. I don't know if I've ever played one, but it looks interesting. I don't know if it'd be like a day one purchase for me, but I wouldn't mind trying it in the future. It kind of reminds me of like playing a tabletop card game, or especially online. I've been playing Star Wars Unlimited online, and it's kind of like that, but with characters instead of cards. It kind of looks like that because you put the command in and then it happens, rather than like a real-time game where you're doing everything and it's happening at the same time. So I think that's fun. I've been having fun with Star Wars Unlimited, so it's definitely something I would give a try. Looks fun.
You think the one worry I have is when you see...
Sorry about that.
Oh, you're good. You see EA on these things, and I just as soon as I see it, I start thinking I'm going to have to buy a lot of extra stuff to keep going in the game, right? Like they love selling extra things within the game, whether it's your Madden or college football games or whatever it may be. Even when EA did Battlefront 2, remember, they had like all the crates and stuff, the cargo crates you could buy, because I think EA had Battlefront 2 along with whoever the one other person was, or one other developer was. And so it turns into like a pay to play after you've already spent $70 on a game. I hope like it doesn't turn way too far into that. I get the premise of add-ons, but I don't want it to affect the nature of the game. Like if I just want to take it out of the box and play it.
Yeah, I will say, you saw Respawn. Obviously EA owns Respawn. I think they're probably going to be the bigger supervisory role, and that's not something really that they've done a lot of. Whether it's the Jedi games or you go back to like the Titanfall games, they weren't heavy like monetary games. So I'm hoping that won't be a thing, because you're right, it would be a bummer if it's a big factor. So
that's a good point on the Jedi games, is you can just take that out and play it, and it's not you're not pressured to buy stuff. So that makes me feel better on that, because it's from the same family of people, business strategy, all that. So yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
And I don't mind add-ons, right? DLC to like you've beat this and now you want to do
about
this
value.
next. Yeah, it's about, do I have to get this and then spend another $30 or $40 to even have fun with the game?
Yeah.
That's what I don't want to happen. So fingers
Gotta
crossed
cover
that doesn't
everything.
happen. We don't know when it's going to come out, but you've got 2 video games this year. So my assumption is one comes out in the first half of the
Yeah.
year and one comes out in the second half of the year. Probably like one will come out in the fall when it gets to selling a lot of games for holiday season. Just looking at how people are, knowing how I am, the racing game may be marketed to a larger audience. So
Yeah,
maybe that's the
think
one
so.
that comes out in the fall, right, with the holiday shopping, and maybe the other one comes out in the spring or summer. That's just kind of my thoughts behind that. But let's move on to Galactic Racer now. I'm not crazy about racing games outside of Mario Kart, but I will play this racing game. I think this racing game will be a lot of fun, and we have an announcement trailer for it as well. So let's go with Racer. Let's get the volume on here so it doesn't make everyone deaf. I'm assuming this is Jakku, right? That's
Looks
really
like
what
it.
it looks like. You
Yeah,
see the
Jakku.
It
wreckage
does
from the
look like it.
Battle of
Down,
Jakku
yeah.
there.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of hoping that's what this is.
Land speeder. Where Ray went. Same thing.
So this is 2026 as well. So we're for sure going to get this one if they're putting that information out there on the trailer. I think this looks like a lot of mindless fun. I don't know
Yeah.
about y'all. I really like on Outlaws when you get to go on the speeder bike and go to and from places. It's not really, like a race or anything, but I just think of that greatly improved as far as gameplay goes and you're actually racing someone. It looks really cool. I think there's going to be some strategy to this as well as far as how racing games go, because some maps are big and so you just want the fastest ship or bike you can get, and then some are going to be more technical courses, so maybe you want something that's got a little better handling. You saw the different ships that they had in the gameplay footage, so I think it's going to be a lot of fun. You can probably customize your ships, which I think I could just spend 30 or 40 minutes just playing around with what the ship or the bike could look like. So this is one I'll either get or I'll sign up for online, to do EA Play or something on it. But I think this is going to be a fun one. This will for sure be an online game as well where you can race other people. I think that'll be fun to do. It should be a lot of fun.
It's cross compatible. So you'll be able to play with everyone.
Yeah.
PC
So
and
Xbox and
console.
PlayStation and PC people will be playing with each other on there.
That's going to be so fun. I'm excited for that. And I
So-
just like Racer. Oh, sorry, Kev.
I was going to say, what you're saying is we can all just be racing each other by the end of the year.
Yes.
That'd be a lot of fun.
Kevin acting like he doesn't have 2 of the 3 of those.
What do I have? What do you mean?
You've got
I have an
Xbox and the
Xbox.
PlayStation, right?
I don't have a PlayStation.
Oh, I thought you had a PlayStation. Okay, so yeah, Xbox.
Used to.
then. Gotcha. All right. Well, yeah, we can play with Ryan online because Ryan plays on the PC.
Yeah, and
Perfect.
like you mentioned, Mario Kart. I think anyone that likes Episode 1 Racer and kart
Yeah.
racers like Mario Kart
Yeah,
will
yeah,
like the
yeah.
game. So I can imagine, not that people don't want to play Fate of the Old Republic. I'm sure there's gonna be a lot that want it, but most people, like I said, if you like Mario Kart, you're probably gonna want to play this. So I think a lot of people are gonna want to play this. Looks super
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, it definitely hits the nostalgia of the episode 1 racer. It's,
Yeah,
very much the spiritual successor to that. So,
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
yeah, I mean, drive fast, things blow up. I mean, it's just like kind of like you said, it's just mindless fun. It looks like
The
it'll be a
galaxy
pretty
needs
good time.
racing.
Yeah, just like they said.
So it says the
It'll probably
galaxy
have some sort of
needs
story
racing.
mode, I would think,
Oh yeah,
too.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure. Yeah.
So,
Some young up and coming
yeah,
person who finds
right.
themselves in some kind of trouble and they race their way to the top and they get out of that situation. That's going to be the story mode.
And Sebulba doesn't like them either.
Yes. Yes. And there
That's
will be
great.
DLC for Ben Quandinaros or whatever his name is.
I
Yeah.
hope so.
It'll be the
Add all
highest
those other
selling
characters in.
DLC of all time.
Probably.
Well, you better believe there will be all kinds of DLC for this game. They will sell the skins, they will sell the maps, they will add and add and add to this. You will have spent hundreds of dollars by the time you know what's happened if you're not careful on this game.
They'll make every
I'm
episode.
excited.
I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying I'm excited for it.
Who's making this game? I didn't even catch that. Is it EA too?
Yeah.
But I was going to say they'll probably make for DLCs every episode 1 pod racer available.
For sure. And then why would they? Maybe because you know how Disney is with Star Wars and keeping it very in whatever timeline it's in. Yeah. But it would be pretty cool for them to throw in just a lot of ships from all of Star Wars just throughout. You know, here's a original trilogy pack. Here's a prequel trilogy pack. Here's a sequel trilogy pack. I think that would be fun. No harm, no foul in that. It's not like we're telling these big canon stories in this game. Give us stuff that we'll have fun with.
I did just look. Sorry, go ahead.
No, were you gonna say?
I was just going to say, I did look. It's developers Fuse, who they did the Burnout and the Need for Speed games.
Okay. Cool.
Good, people who know what they're doing once again.
Yeah. Need for Speed's good.
Sorry, that's all I'm saying.
I like the Need for Speed. I've never played Burnout, but I know those games are fun. Are those the ones where you just keep driving through cars and they get destroyed and stuff?
Yeah, there's a lot of crashing and blowing up in that one, I think.
But I was going to say,
sounds like it could be fun for this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Avoid a lot of stuff. But I was going to say, what if they had the T-16 Skyhopper as like a DLC or something?
That would be very smart for them to do.
I wonder if it's all going to be ground racing or if there'll be any flying. That's a good...
It did make it seem as if it would be ground racing, but also, you know, you read the Legend Star Wars books and you've got Lando out there having people, you know, run these asteroid belts and things like that could definitely maybe play into it as well. So just like draw from that. It's a big sandbox they can play.
Yeah.
So I'll be getting both of the games we just discussed. I'm very confident. I may wait until Black Friday sales for one or both or something, but I'll be getting both to play for sure. And then they usually do some good online sales as well. If you check around, you know, if you just want to download the game instead of get the disc, I prefer to have the disc, but I'm old school, I guess, on those.
It's nice to have physical copies.
I can always take it and trade it in if I don't like it. So that's why I like having those and get, you know, $1.50 for it. But either way. Yeah, right. So let's move in here. This is strictly speculative on this happening. Tales of the something. I mean, it's happened every year for the last 3 years. So why would we think with a lineup like this, why would it not happen? You could also say, well, with a lineup like this, there's not a lot of room for it, but I trust that they will make room for it. So Tales of the something. This will be really quick for us. Ryan, we'll start with you. If you could have one Tales of the story, what would it be? I put you on the spot.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I mean, I would like another Tales of the Jedi, to be honest, because I want to see more Qui-Gon and Count Dooku, but you guys know I always talk about that. But, I mean, I think something fun like maybe Tales of the Wookiees or more bounty hunters, I think would be fun. More Underworld. It would be fun.
Yeah.
I'd like to see more of that.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know.
Wookiees would be
I
fun.
have a lot of ideas, but I don't know.
I'm
I like
simple
Wookiees.
on this one. I just want to. We've had a Tales of the Jedi. I want Tales of the Sith. That just very, very simple.
Yeah.
You can either tell stories of, Sith we know, right? Like we already kind of have a Dooku one, so maybe and we're getting a Maul show. So I suppose you don't do either one of those, but maybe you have like a Plagueis, and then maybe you could go with Bane or something. You could go way back, or you could do Vader in between movies, or something like that. I don't know, but I do want Tales of the Sith, and they could really go way back in the timeline if they wanted to. But they also usually do stories around people we know about. So if they were to do that, I feel like it would center around the 5 or 6 Sith that we're fairly familiar with. But that's what I want, Tales of the Sith. Kevin?
I thought of one, but you first, Kevin.
I want like a Tales of like a starfighter pilot.
I knew you'd say that.
I
Cool.
know exactly what I want. I want one side Imperial, one side New Republic, and you follow them through the same battles from their different perspectives.
You want that
Give me
one
that,
book.
and I would be so happy.
Yeah, you want Lost Stars on screen.
Yeah.
Is that what that is?
Sounds like.
I guess I need to read that then. But yes, that's what I want to see.
But I thought of something familiar. Tales of the Rebellion.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be
good.
Fun.
Yeah.
You could even put us back in like Andor mode if you wanted to, with something like that. That'd be cool to see an animated take on that. But we got there's a lot of possibilities you could do. I guess we already have, so we've got Tales of the Empires already happened, right? Wasn't that the second one?
Yeah.
Because we had like Morgan Elsbeth and Thrawn there. So Tales of the Rebellion would make sense. You could really, if you wanted to kind of give us a little more meat to the sequel trilogy and make it mean a little bit more, you could do a Tales of the First Order, Tales of the Resistance that leads up to episode 7, and we can actually finally care about these, or at least know more about these factions. Like where the heck did they come from? And why is Poe Dameron here trying with Lor Santeca doing all this stuff? You know what I mean? Like you could build on things like that we really in the sequel trilogy just have a lot of missing parts, it feels like, that could supplement it. So I think Tales would be a great way to do that. Don't know that they will do that, but that's a time period they could do. You could go, for the Acolyte people, you could go back and maybe carry on some story through that things. I mean, there's so much you could do there. You could go into maybe a Bo-Katan story, or a Boba Fett, or Kenobi on Tatooine. There's so much you could do in these tales. So I think they can't go wrong with any of those either, especially since they're just short stories. It's not like you're really shaking things up there. But
well, you know what? I apologize for cutting you off, but
no, you're good.
Because you mentioned explaining things before the sequel trilogy. There is, and I mean, it would be fun to watch, but I mean, if we just want to like do research on our own instead of watching it, there is the series Resistance, and I know that begins before The Force Awakens and goes into The Last Jedi. I've only seen the first 2 episodes, but that's because I know Oscar Isaac, he's in the first episode from what I remember, and Kylo's in it, and Phasma as well. So there is that, but
I have never actually tried to watch that. I probably should at some point. I just have never done it. So maybe that's something I try to do this year. Not anytime soon, probably, but maybe this
that'd
is
be
the
fun
year
when there's a downtime with Star Wars.
Yeah, I've still got to catch that episode 9 of Stranger Things that's dropping this week. So
we'll see. I don't know. I don't know.
Kevin hasn't seen it all yet, so don't spoil it. But moving into Ahsoka season 2, this is the main event here. I'll go ahead and say, this is the thing I'm looking forward most to this year in Star Wars. I know we're going to say it a little bit later, but Ahsoka season 2. It is my favorite Star Wars show. It's not the best Star Wars show, I know that, but it is my favorite Star Wars show. And there was a really big Ahsoka season 2 panel at Star Wars Celebration. The people I know that went to it said it was awesome. Obviously, some of the stuff has leaked from it. People have uploaded the pictures from the panel, so we'll flip through them real quick. But we've got some Night Sisters here fighting the New Republic, it looks like. So I think we have some really cool action. You see her shooting those bows like we saw in Tales of the Empire. I think that's a lot of fun. You've got Captain Enoch there. I want Enoch in action is going to be so awesome. I thought he was a really cool looking character. Loved the color scheme of the Thrawn stormtroopers or night troopers. Interesting that Enoch does have like a face versus all the rest of them. So I think they're going to kind of make him up to be a pretty cool bad guy. Look at that concept art there. She looks scary. I think that'll be awesome to see in live action. Assuming that's on Dathomir, kind of looks like it.
Yeah.
Then we got, I believe, so we got Hera Chopper. I don't know if that's Ezra or just troopers or what there, but I think the rest of this picture, the rest of the scene is Enoch walking around as well. You just can't see it here. But I think that's part of that. You got Ezra Bridger here getting ready to go, probably hop in an X-Wing and blow things up or something like that. Yeah, so it looks fun there. You got Chopper with a machine gun. I mean, come on now.
That's great.
How awesome is that going to be to see? Yeah. That's definitely an ode to the fans who just love seeing Chopper. We got Shin Hati here. And I think the rest of this picture, is Hu Yang getting ready to fight Shin, which, how fun will that be? Wow. Him and all of his, looks like Grievous there almost.
Yeah. The original.
Then this is for sure Dathomir, just from playing Jedi, Fallen Order. You're on Dathomir. Yeah. And it looks like you got the New Republic soldiers just kind of wading into a tough situation. So I think it's gonna be a bloodbath for the New Republic in this season. I think this is gonna be like the Empire Strikes Back of the Ahsoka seasons.
Yeah.
But this is on Peridia.
Awesome.
It kind of looks, like the kind of like stuff you see in Survivor Fallen Order type things. But you got Sabine there fighting that thing. You got Ahsoka there seemingly fighting a similar thing that its arm kind of popped around. Yeah, check that out. So that's like our big bad robot things, I guess, guarding Abeloth. It would be the assumption. And then Thrawn there. I don't know what's going on here, but we got Thrawn's face kind of popping through the clouds or through the stars.
Explosion.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, I wonder if that's going to be like a scene of the Death Star blowing up and then like fades to Thrawn or something. Like they're letting him, they're catching him up on what happens, because he doesn't know yet.
It'd be interesting.
So it would be interesting to see. But yeah, there's just as far as this goes. Obviously, there's a ton of lore that Dave Filoni is going to explore with Ahsoka, with the Mortis story, and possibly Abeloth, and then you've got Anakin's Force Ghost, because they did confirm that Hayden Christensen was coming back at Star Wars Celebration as well. So you've got that aspect of things. You've got the New Republic fighting Thrawn on the other side of things. It appears that Dathomir is a huge focus, so maybe the whole story is like this Battle of Dathomir or something like that. I don't know. But I think there's going to be a lot of carnage left behind by this new Empire with Thrawn coming back. I do think this is going to be the Empire really flexing on the New Republic here to set us up for whatever's next, because you've got to establish them as a threat. So I cannot see them ultimately winning this season. I think it's going to be a very Empire Strikes Back feeling show where, there's hope that the good guys can win, but they clearly did not win in this season of Ahsoka. I mean, technically, they didn't win in season 1 either. They make you feel that way in season 1, but Thrawn gets back, but so does Ezra, right? So, I mean, I guess there's a toss up there. But I'm just so excited to see where this goes, because it's going to have good action, but it's also going to have a lot of big, lore type stuff as well. So, Kevin, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think obviously with the way season 1 closes out on the Mortis statues, like, that's going to be a huge part of the story on Peridia is diving into why this place is connected with Mortis and all that. And there's, man, so many theories and This is kind of, we go back to some of the fun things about Star Wars, and a lot of it's just like when we don't know anything and just the things we come up with. That's always fun. So all the speculation and all the theories is just a lot of fun to listen to. You know, how much is Abeloth like Abeloth that people know, and how different is it going to be, even if it is Abeloth, or is it something just very inspired by, like, there's just so much that feels like it's there, but we also have no idea that it's there. So I'm looking forward to both sides of it. I'm like, I'm curious as to how much will be on Dathomir. That's a really cool setting to do a lot of cool stuff with, especially with how heavily they went into some of the weird Night Sister stuff in season 1. I can see them very much like being on Dathomir for a little while and really looking at their side of the Force. This is obviously a very Force heavy looking at show, and so I would be surprised if we don't get like a really close look at the Night Sisters and their weird dark Force magic. So I hope we don't move away from Dathomir too quick, but I'm really excited about it. I think it's just a lot of fun possibilities and a lot of really just fun, interesting stuff that they throw at you to be like, that's like just really developing more and more of just this lore that is the Force and these Force gods. And it's just a cool kind of place to be with the not knowing, but also still kind of having some ideas.
It's in a spot where, like you said, people who have ideas on all these big lore things, this is really a show to bait us in on all of that. Yeah. So it's a lot of fun. Ryan, what do you think about it?
Yeah, I agree with Kevin. I think we gotta have a lot of Dathomir. They definitely have to do that. And I never actually thought about it because I've been thinking about Ahsoka, but not too deep. But I like the idea of it being an Empire Strikes Back, not just for the series, but for the Filoniverse as a whole. Because you can't have every season of all the good guys winning, and then they get to that culmination film and they win again. So I actually think that's a good idea to like have like everything just go bad in this season, and that just sets everything up for a big ending, like for the culmination, like because that film has to be the big ending, like a Return of the Jedi or a Rise of Skywalker. So yeah, I actually like that. I never thought about that, but I hope it is an Empire Strikes Back of, again, not just Ahsoka, but the whole Filoniverse. That would be fun. I like that idea.
One thing to add to this, they did already say that Zeb is what's going to be bridging the gap between the Mando movie and what's going on in Ahsoka season 2, or in this timeline or story or whatever they're telling. So I do think there's a chance again that you run from the Mando movie into Ahsoka with Zeb going from whatever he's doing in the Mandalorian movie to now like, okay, he's got to get to Dathomir, or he's got to get to whatever Hera needs him for. I think the Mando movie is going to give credence to the fact that the Empire is back, because remember, that's the big issue in Mando season 3 is no one believes the Empire's back. And then you get to Ahsoka season 1, no one believes the Empire's back. Well, by the end of the Mando movie, they definitely will believe that. And then I think you're going to have Carson Teva, Zeb, whoever kind of merging into this Ahsoka story, which does kind of make you wonder if they will roll the dice of bringing the Mandalorian into this story. I hope they don't personally, because I think
I agree.
Sending him to mess with the warlords is a good thing, and then leaving Hera to fight the war as a general is a good thing. But I think there is obviously the possibility that you run into a Princess Leia or a Senator Leia sighting, or a Luke Skywalker sighting, or Han Solo or Lando or something like that. I think eventually you can't keep having all these big things happen without one of them showing up. So I do think there's a good potential for that in this. And then I think the way this ends, and Kevin, you kind of mentioned it, there's a lot of the Force aspect of this whole Dathomir thing. I think you're going to see the good guys beaten pretty badly, and they're going to realize, like, we need a Jedi to come help us fight all these people. And then I think you get the Ahsoka, Sabine maybe making their way back into the galaxy, or the Luke Skywalker showing up, or Ezra, they got one Jedi, but they need more. So I think that's where it really, you go from this war with troopers versus Thrawn's troopers, and you really start bringing the Force into it. I think that's where you get into the big money of where this could go. So that's my hopes for this. I'm really excited for it. This is my thing that I'm looking forward to most this year, for sure. So with that being said, Ryan, which show are you looking? Show, project, movie. What are you looking forward most to for 2026?
Man, I don't know the top. I guess this was a bad idea doing it for last because they all just everything we've discussed is really great. I don't know because I like the idea of Ahsoka being the or Ahsoka season 2 being the Empire Strikes Back of the series, but then I'm excited to see a new Star Wars movie in theaters. But then I'm also really excited to see what happens with Maul. There's so much that could be done. So I don't know. Is it okay if I'm just excited for it all?
Yes, we will allow you to be excited for it all. We'll allow it. Kevin.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it all looks awesome. Like I'm excited for all the projects. I'm really excited about that Zero Company game. But I think for me it's just getting back in a theater. I think the thing I'm most excited about is what looks like is going to be a really fun movie experience. It's going to be, I think, very Star Wars. I think it's going to be very Mando season 1 vibes. And I'm really excited just to get in a theater and just enjoy that. I think it's going to be a really, really fun experience. So I'm hoping I'm not overhyping it and overselling it, but I am really looking forward to just that theater experience again. So I think that's probably my most anticipated.
I don't think you can be overhyping it because they are going to hype this up to the max. And I think they know how much rests on this. Star Wars coming back to theaters. If it just completely flops, we may not be going back to theaters for, there's all these things that are supposedly out there, but if your Mandalorian movie can't make it, why on earth would your Rey movie and your Origins movie? So I think they are not going to mess this up.
I got a question.
I hope you're right.
My thought. Okay.
Do you think, other than Starfighter, because that's definitely going to theaters, but do you think they'll just turn the Rey movie and possibly the Ben movie into just series, Disney Plus series, if this doesn't do well?
No, I think they'll just turn those two movies into the same movie. That's kind of been my thoughts on that.
I wouldn't mind that. It'd be cool to have them both together in a movie.
Because I think Disney leaked the fact that the Hunt for Ben Solo was going to happen. I believe that was definitely an inside job.
That's so funny.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it is too, because they wanted to feel things out to see what everybody thought. Yeah. And everybody's like, yes, 100%. So it's going to happen.
They knew what they were doing there. Oh, so looking at next week, let's get into a what if. So it's kind of a little, we only got likely we don't have too many non-topic episodes this year, right? Like there's a lot going on that we just talked about. So there's going to be a lot of content to cover. So I think we should get in some of these fan dreams that we all like to have. So I will let y'all know a what if before next week when we film, but that's what we're going to do next week. So people who are watching, if you're still here an hour and 10 minutes into this, let us know what you are looking forward to the most in 2026, and we will catch you for a what if episode next week.